Hello everyone and welcome back to another installation video. Today we're going to be doing a Chrome Delete installation video for this Kia K5. So this is how the window chrome looks before the installation and this is how it looks after. So as you can see, this is a gloss black vinyl Chrome Delete kit. If you like how it came out, the link for the product will be in the description down below. But with that being said, let's get started with today's video. So before we begin, one of the first things you want to do is you want to make sure you have a clean area you're working with. That way you don't have any contaminants while you're working. So the way I'm going to clean this is just by applying soapy water, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe. Now that we have a clean area we're working with, we're going to start right here at the edge and we're just going to align it right at the edge, making sure all the chrome is covered, and we're going to align it right at the bottom. So as you can see over here, I have it right at the edge at the bottom, barely covering the chrome. And I'm doing the same thing over here to the bottom side of the chrome, making sure everything is covered, but I'm not going over it. And all we're gonna do here is we're just gonna follow the outline of the window. Okay. And so like I mentioned, we're just gonna be following the curve, making sure everything is aligned. And I'm just gonna be repeating the same process, making sure all the chrome is covered. So after we finish aligning, the next step is to grab your squeegee, and we're just going to squeegee everything, make sure we have no air bubbles. And at the same time, we're going to be tucking up, and we're also going to be tucking down. So now if you do have a little bit of excess, we could go ahead and trim it. So after we finish tucking and trimming the excess material, our next step is to post heat the film. That way it can stay in place. So we're going to start post heating the edges. So we're just going to grab our heat gun, and we're going to begin. And we're done with our first piece, so we can move on to our next piece. So now we're gonna move on to the back side of the chrome. So let's begin. Same process, we're just gonna align it right at the edge, and we're gonna follow the curve of the chrome. So let's get started. We're gonna align it to this edge. All right, now that we have it in place, all we need to do is we're just gonna guide it and lay it down. Now that we have it in place, we're going to grab our squeegee and we're just going to squeegee out any remaining bubbles. And we're going to open the door and we're going to begin tucking down. Like I mentioned, you could either tuck down, but if you have a little bit of too much excess, we're going to go ahead and trim it. So for this step, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tuck it over and I'm going to trim right at the edge, and I'll show you what that looks like. So like I mentioned, I said I was going to tuck over and right at the edge. I'm just going to feel out the edge. I'm going to grab my blade and slowly trim, making sure I don't cut anything else. And all I'm doing is I'm just following the edge. And we're going to be using our heat gun to tuck in the remainder of the edges. And so with that, we're done with this piece, and we're going to repeat the same process to the other side. So now the way we're going to start with this piece is we're first going to align it right here at the edge, at the corner. If you can see right here, you can see kind of like a dip. So we're going to begin right here, aligning the film first. Like I mentioned, we're going to align the film over there, making sure everything is covered. Once I have it aligned there, then I could align it to this side. And I'm just making sure everything is covered. So as you can see, everything falls into place. And we're gonna finish off the other side. So I'm gonna continue from this side. I finished aligning this side, so let me go ahead and finish going to the trunk side. And all I'm doing is I'm just guiding it, making sure all the chrome is covered. Cool. Now, once we have everything in place and aligned, we're gonna grab our squeegee and we're just gonna squeegee out the bubbles. And all I'm doing here is I'm just applying light pressure. And to help me better lay down the film, I'm gonna grab my heat gun, I'm gonna go over it, and at the same time, I'm gonna grab my squeegee, making sure I cover the edges. Now that I tucked down the edges, any excess material that I have, I'm just gonna grab my blade and I'm just gonna carefully trim the excess material. So all I'm doing here is I'm just applying light pressure and I'm just following the guide. After we're done with the rear side, we're gonna go to the trunk side, and it's exactly the same steps. We're gonna align it to one edge, and we're just gonna guide it across all the chrome. And after that, we're just gonna tuck in the edges and we should be done. So let's begin by tacking down one side. Now that I have one side tacked down, I'm just gonna move my way up, and I'm just gonna be aligning the vinyl. Again, making sure all the chrome is covered. And for this piece, I'm aligning down. Now that I have my vinyl laid down, my next step is just to squeegee out any remaining bubbles using my squeegee. So let's go ahead and do that. And to better help me lay down the film, I'm just gonna grab my heat gun. I'm gonna heat the edge, and at the same time, I'm gonna tuck down the edges. Now, if you do have excess material, we're gonna go ahead, same step. We're gonna grab our blade, and we're just gonna carefully, we're gonna trim the excess off. So after I carefully trim off the excess material, I'm just gonna use my heat gun, tuck down the edges. And before we finish, our last step is to post heat all the work we finished. And so the reason why we post heat is we want to make sure that the vinyl stays flat on the chrome. We're just going to go over lightly with our heat gun, and like I mentioned, we're going to go over all the edges, all the work we already finished. And after we finish post heating, this is what our final result looks like. Now, if you guys do have any questions, make sure to comment down below in the comments, and we'll be more than happy to help you guys. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.